Imagine you've just been given a very complex task that is demanding every little ounce of your skill and expertise, and you're given the choice of where to do that task, either in the comfort of your own home or in a room full of strangers. Which room do you think you'll be more likely to succeed? This is the question Daniel Coyle asks in his New York Times bestselling book, The Culture Code. And I think we all would agree that the location, the setting that you're going to be more successful is in your home, because it's a safe environment. According to Google, the same principle applies to teams. They have found that psychological safety and creating this safe environment is the #1 indicator to show which teams are the highest performing and the most innovative. And this was largely developed through the social connections of their team members. Hey, my name is Jan Keck, and I help people turn shallow conversations into deep, meaningful connections. But this year, my mission is to bring back human connection to organizations and help them create more connected teams, and in the end, create a culture of psychological safety, authenticity, trust, and belonging. I've only come across the term psychological safety in the last year, but the funny thing is, I've become an expert at creating psychological safety years ago. If you're just getting to know me, you'd be surprised to know that most of my career, over 10 years, I've actually been in the video production industry, telling stories for organizations and brands, creating documentary films, and even YouTube shows. But the one thing that I've realized is more often than not, I'd be working with people who've never been in front of a camera. If it's a business owner or somebody that I would interview for my documentaries, they would not have the experience of talking to a camera, and oftentimes they would freak out because the camera, unlike a person that you're having a conversation with, it doesn't smile, it doesn't make eye contact, it doesn't nod and tell you that you're doing a good job. So I ended up witnessing a bunch of amazing mini transformations that my clients would go through, from being afraid of standing in the spotlight and in front of the camera and sharing their message, to really having fun. And over, clients would tell me that they almost forgot that the camera was there, and it helped them just feel so comfortable in being themselves because suddenly they were not nervous anymore. So when I came across Amy Edmondson's TED Talk, which talks about psychological safety, this is the first time that I heard the term. I had a little epiphany. I realized that I've been doing this the whole time. If it is helping my clients dropping their mask and being real on camera, or hosting any of my events where a group of strangers comes together in a room to play and have meaningful conversations, they also have to feel safe to be themselves. Together, we had to get over this uncomfortable, awkward feeling when you show up to an event and you don't know anyone, to sharing really vulnerable stories really quickly. And it was only recently that I realized that maybe creating this psychological safety is my superpower. After all, a lot of people meet somebody at my event and become friends. So how do you know that there is no psychological safety in your group or team, and what can you do about it? I recently saw a study done by Cigna that showed that 61% of employees feel lonely. And this number is up another 7% from the previous year. And it really made me wonder, why is that? Why do people feel lonely at work? We're surrounded by people the whole time, but it turns out, and I've experienced this myself, you can feel lonely, isolated, and disconnected in a crowd. Some employees might spend all of their energy trying to change themselves to fit in with a group, or engage in meaningless small talk just to be part of the conversation. And worst case scenario, the issue is so bad at your workplace that it will trigger people's stress response, and it shuts down the logical functions of their brain, and suddenly things like critical thinking, decision making, creativity are almost impossible to do. So if your team members don't feel safe to be themselves because they're afraid of being excluded, or they don't feel safe to ask a question because they might be seen as stupid or humiliated, or when they hesitate to admit a mistake because they're afraid of being punished, so they start to hide it as long as they can. What do you think this is going to do to the engagement, productivity, and performance on your team? Amy Edmondson shares in her TEDx talk, "Every time we withhold, we rob ourselves and our colleagues of small moments of learning, and we don't innovate. We don't contribute to building a better organization." And I would also add that if you don't fix this problem and create a psychological safe culture in your workplace, your employees will start burning out, they'll be looking for other jobs, and your organization will be losing time, energy, and money in hiring, recruiting, and onboarding those new employees only for the cycle to start over again. So I'm really excited that I've been working on creating an interactive keynote plus a leadership workshop on sharing all of the lessons, all of the things that I've learned about the skills that leaders need to create a more connected team and a psychological safe workplace. So if any of this resonates, let's jump on a call and figure out if it's a good fit for me to come in and do an interactive talk or a leadership workshop. All the information is below this video, and I really can't wait to meet you.